Chapter 6. The Search.
Detective, what is the meaning of all this?
Madame, I ask that you all lend me your ears for only a few moments. What I have to say is of great significance to everyone. You are all invited here to celebrate the engagement of Mademoiselle Angeline Vandenbosch and Monsieur Gédéon Demire, the coming together of two prevalent families. But the celebrations were short-lived, as Major Felix Hagen was found dead in his study by a young servant of the house. It then became my responsibility and obligation as a detective to uncover the truth behind his demise. My initial examination of his study exposed a number of things I did not expect to find. Things I have no desire to divulge at this time, but what I can say is this. It was no simple murder. A letter demanding ransom for a continued silence confirmed this. I am sure some, if not all of you, have heard whispers of a series of blackmails that have plagued the social elite in recent weeks. After hearing of the letters in the major study, you may ask if it was him behind the letters. You may further ask if he was preparing his next threat to another unsuspecting victim. It is a question that crossed even my mind. That was until I sought the truth. That in fact it was the Major that had fallen victim to our blackmailer Mystérieux. Last night I spoke with you all, confirmed your whereabouts in the house over the course of the evening, and while I would have expected such questioning to reveal a potential suspect, what I learned was that it could not have been one of you.
His lips aren't moving.
What do you mean, not one of us? The man was stabbed. He hardly did that to himself. There is still a killer in the house.
Pardon, monsieur, if you would allow me to finish. It could not have been only one of you. Rather a partneria, a partnership, in cahoots, if you will. Conversations today have revealed facts that I was not expecting to discover. And although they may have muddied and complicated my investigation, what I must do to bring the guilty parties to justice has become clearer. Those of you that spun stories in an attempt to confuse and derail my investigation have made a grave mistake in underestimating my intelligence. Other detectives may fall for such deception, but I can assure you, Detective Poirot is no such fool. My investigation is far from over, and swift justice shall be dealt to those that have committed such appalling acts and have continued to mislead and lie to protect themselves. Now, I must continue mon enquête, and I shall leave you to consider that you may be beside a cold-hearted killer. Bonsoir. Monsieur Sterling, un moment.
Quite the speech, detective.
Merci, but it was not made to entertain, more to warn the guilty parties that I am hot on their heels, no matter how clever they believe themselves to be.
Well, if there is anything I can do.
When you returned to the study last night, did you notice anything different from our previous visit?
Nothing. But I was so preoccupied with the Major. Sorry, detective. Should I have?
Perhaps it was just my mind playing games again.
Maybe one of the guests got lost and wandered in.
If the guests had taken a wrong turn, finding themselves in the Major's bedroom first, I'm sure they would not have proceeded through the next door unless they were not lost at all. Who has access to the safe in the Major's study?
Master Hagen had a key, obviously, and Lady Vandenbosch.
Monsieur Demire was quite sure Archibald also had a copy of the key. It is not something one would easily forget. Regarding access to the safe, have you seen its contents before?
When requested, aye. If something is required from there when Master Hagen is not around.
Forgive me. If he is not around, how is it you access this safe?
It's not what you think, detective.
What I think is that you have been trusted with a copy of the key, and you have lied to me about it.
I only lied because of the trouble I can get into with Lady Vandenbosch.
At this moment, monsieur, you should be more worried about the trouble you shall find yourself in with the law.
I know how it will sound, but I lost my key. I must have set it down somewhere, and it has been tidied away. Master Hagen asked so rarely for me to go in the safe, I didn't think it would be missed.
Monsieur Sterling's story of his lost key strikes me as rather coincidental. The major safe is broken into, its documents ransacked, and letters involving Madame Van den Bosch's secret left out. It is a crime with no apparent purpose. So here's the thing, right? He's right. It does seem like a great coincidence, but is it a coincidence because somebody else took that key to get into the safe, or is it a coincidence because he doesn't want to claim that he had the key when that crime occurred? So I'd like to search the guest bedroom.
Is that really necessary?
The murderer remains at large, and there is still no sign of the weapon. I would say that makes them essential.
Of course. I still just cannot imagine any of them being guilty of his murder.
It may be hard to imagine, but it is the truth.
There is a matter regarding the Comtesse we must discuss.
I should have said this morning. I'm sorry.
Monsieur, I am not quite sure you understand the severity of what has happened.
I am well aware, Detective. I just thought she would be able to help.
Would you allow a man with a smoking gun to remove his bullet from a victim's chest?
I suppose not.
I understand that Monsieur Sterling was only trying to help, but surely he must have seen what it could do for the integrity of my investigation.
I would like to begin my searches now.
So once again, either he's an idiot
Since
or
it is
involved.
closest, I will start with the west wing.
I may not be back when you return. Here is the key to the other rooms. Please return it when you're done.
Merci. I shall guard it with my life.
First, let us pay the Comtesse a visit. Yeah, because I know which room is the Comtesse's. Before I can accuse anyone of any crime, I must be sure if they were working alone or with another. This is a perfect opportunity to find evidence of any collusion and look for the murder weapon. Alright. Is it just me or is he walking faster now? Should make myself known before entering.
Entrez?
I assumed that they were all still down in the parlor. The Comtesse's room, it would be rude to not address her before searching her room. Yes, but it wouldn't be the first time we've done that.
Detective, what a pleasure. I did not expect to see you in my chambers.
In a purely professional capacity, I can assure you.
There is no need to act so stiff, Detective.
Madame, after the revelation of your actions last night, I'm afraid my sense of humor is all but gone.
I will not apologize again for merely trying to help. Shall we get straight to it then? Let us not waste your time any further, Detective.
I saw you conversing with one of the young servants yesterday. Did I? I don't remember that.
That would be Inga. She has been one of the most promising young women that has come from the shelter.
Madame Van den Bosch took in a young lady from your shelter.
There is no need to sound so surprised, Detective. She does have a heart.
I did not mean to sound so cruel. I just did not expect Madame to hire someone of that background after the incident with her previous maid, Florette.
People change, Detective. You should not judge someone on their past actions.
Believe me, Comtesse, I know that only too well.
I commend you on your dedication with the women you help. It is most honorable.
Be careful, Detective. That almost sounded like a compliment.
It is your actions in this house that have been questionable, Madame. Your work outside is something that many more could take note of.
We do what we can.
Have you been able to find many of the girls from the shelter work?
We wouldn't be doing a very good job if I could only help one girl. I in fact found work for one of them as a maid in Monsieur da Silva's house recently.
So, I mean, I feel like this could be like leading us down the path of she's putting these maids in their house and then gathering the blackmail to then blackmail the other people, you know, get them to hire one of these girls because of the girl's background. I don't actually remember what kind of a shelter it is. I don't know if it's like a battered women's shelter, like a homeless women's shelter or something, but maybe some combination. But either way, in return for finding them these jobs, getting them to spy for her so that she can blackmail.
She has fitted into Monsieur's home well.
What is better, detective? That she remained in an abusive house, or she is able to rebuild her life with an honest wage in a prosperous house?
When put like that, is she happy in her position?
The happiest she has been in years. I check in with them all as often as possible. And if there was a problem, I would know.
I'm glad to hear that more girls are building a better future for themselves, and it is with help from the contest that it has been able to happen.
Merci, madame.
Gramophone. The wonders of modern technology, what a joy it must be to have music in one's home. Book. The happy couple's engagement is someone in particular romantic mood. So I guess it's a romance novel, yeah. Piano. Chance to play is very tempting. Yeah, that's what he says at every piano. Are we going to get the same fireplace dialogue? Yep. Same with the clock, I'm assuming. Yep. A first aid kit. Full of medical equipment, bandages, plasters, antiseptics, and a pair of scissors. Oh my. Talk to Margot about the first aid kit. Well, we'll do that. A minute. What did we discover over here? Ah, the first aid kit. I mean, I feel like he should be able to tell that whether or not it was scissors, right? Perhaps a present for the family as a thank you for their hospitality. I'll look out the window. Get one step closer to that achievement. Plants lean. Yeah, same thing with every other plant. Alright, well, all we really found of note in here was a first aid kit.
Go ahead, detective.
Perhaps I was a little rash with my response to you examining the Major's body.
A compliment, and now an apology. Well, detective, you certainly have changed your tune.
There was something I was still unsure of. You mentioned that your training was some years ago.
From my days as a nurse, oui.
If that is so, why would you have brought several pieces of equipment usually found in a physician's bag?
One must always be prepared, detective.
Prepared? At an engagement celebration?
If I had not brought them, I would not have been able to assist you last night. Perhaps you should be thankful for my precaution and not so suspicious.
And had she not brought them at all, I would not have to ask such a question.
Merci, madame.
So here's the thing, right? Like, it's a first aid kit. It doesn't look like a huge first aid kit or anything. And as somebody who is trained as a nurse, I have no problem believing that this is just, like, in her luggage all the time. Like, that, like, if she goes somewhere, the first aid kit goes with her. Like, I have no issue believing that. Because, like, it's not a huge first aid kit. And from what he said, it has, like, a little bit non-standard to today's first aid kits, but, quite possibly back then, they would have had slightly different stuff in them. So, I mean, I have absolutely no issue believing that that's just a thing that goes with her. Oh, and now we're just switching rooms. All right. The ever-guarded Jacqueline Conrad. It is time I should question her on her conversation with the Major before searching her room. Although, I can get the worthless stuff. Oh, this is the room that they almost put me in. So it's actually already I've actually already searched some. Well, looked around a little bit.
Detective, what could...
Mademoiselle, I am sure you understand my reasoning for such intrusion.
If it's going to clear my name, be my guest.
If you wouldn't mind answering some questions, it can hopefully be cleared faster.
I'd like to start with your relationship with the Major.
Like I said, he's not the man he wants everyone to think he is.
Oui, but how is it you came to that conclusion?
You don't really want me to recount every conversation I've had with him, do you?
There is one particular I had in mind.
Tell me about your argument.
An argument would imply it was a two-way conversation.
And that is not how it was?
Here it is. I've been helping Angeline get exposure, her marriage to Gideon is big news, and his work is really paving the way for others. I saw the chance to get their names out there, and he didn't like it.
What was there not to like?
Your guess is as good as mine, Detective. But if I had to, I'd say he was jealous it wasn't his name at the top of the article.
And his reason to storm off?
Oh, you know about that. Let's just say I didn't accept his pathetic attempt to get me to stop the story. If you're gonna try and pay someone off, at least make it worth their while.
I thought the Major would only be supportive of Mademoiselle Angeline. There must be more to why he would not want her success to be known. Well, it could be that he didn't, that since they were already receiving blackmail, he didn't want their success to be known so that the person then asked for even more money. But I'm sure you have grown weary of this subject, but Monsieur Beckers...
You've really got a fascination with that guy, huh?
I would not say fascination. An interest, perhaps.
Well, I'll save you the bother of trying to find out more about him. He's not that interesting. In fact, he's a bit of a wimp if you ask me.
That is not the impression I got of him.
That's because you've only seen the side of him he wants you to. He knows what to say in front of the right people. But behind closed doors, he's clueless.
Clueless in what way?
Let me guess. The first thing he told you was that he was a union leader. No, the voice of the people.
A man that is proud of his work is not something to be sneered at.
Don't get me wrong, he has a way with words, and he can certainly rally a crowd. But that's about it. At the end of the day, he's a representative and nothing more. He's got to play the part, not just lines.
Mademoiselle does not think particularly highly of Monsieur Beckers. She is a strong, independent woman, but to use the term wimp is an unnecessary attack on his character. It's her opinion, I mean.
Sure thing, Detective. And if you change your mind on that exclusive about that shooting...
If I do change it, you shall be the first to know.
I'd like to know what shooting, because it seems to me like that shooting was an awfully long time ago for her to be caring about writing an article about it now. Among them, a recent article by Jackie Conrad about the riots linked to Ernesto's factory. Following the tragic events in the city that has darkened the spirit of the people and brought to a screeching halt the rising defiance of the working class, the area has been cordoned off and police presence at the scene has increased. Factory security forces have been asked to step down and the powers handed over to law enforcement services. Workers laid down their tools, switched off all machinery, and stood together shoulder to shoulder as the fight for fair pay and conditions raged on. What started as peaceful protest by those employed at the factories has turned into a battle of class, with support for the workers coming in from all over the city. Although reports have not been confirmed, sources state that violence broke out following a second wave surge of supporters. Official numbers have not been published, but it is believed that as many as 8 workers have lost their lives in the fighting. The Workers' Frontline has been considered as a representation of the people and working class of Belgium that now refuse to work in such demanding conditions for such a demeaning and insufficient wage. Chief Commissioner Leroux has confirmed that the outbreak of violence and resulting civilian deaths are being investigated, and an official statement is to be made in the coming days. So, I mean, I'm assuming that that's what she's talking about because the Major was the one doing security for him. So it's quite possible that the Major is the one who told the guys to, you know, who, like, got his people to initiate the violence, maybe. Presume this belongs to Jackie. Chasing a good story may lead her into some precarious scenarios. I mean, a pocket knife, I mean, once again, I feel like he should have much more of a clue as to what kind of a weapon was used besides blade, you know? Like an examination of the wound. What's new here? I don't see any markers for... Oh, there it is. Should be able to tell him, like, at least a rough size of the blade, single or double-edged. Like, of course, you can always do the trick where you stab somebody with a single-edged blade, carefully remove it, turn it over, and then stab them again the other way so it looks like a double-edged blade. It's very hard to get away with that though, because you obviously got to line it up so carefully and go only as deep as you went the first time, you know. Anyway, cluttered workstation. Jackie has set up a makeshift office in her room. She must bring her work with her everywhere. Mr. Artigue spotted leaving the Velvet Tickle. Well, that sounds like a fine establishment. At Friday at 23:15. Cambray House has been poaching off neighboring land, boar, deer, and duck. Maggie to follow up. Mrs. Bonte found her husband in the marital bed with a young maidservant. Testament from maid needed. In your own bed. Mr. Denault, overheard in the Cackling Crow, speaking poorly of King Leopold, he said questionable ideas. We say doubtful, skeptical, shady. Notes from Francis by Monday. Okay. I mean, I feel like that wasn't really much of a clue as to anything that's going on right now. I'll check the window again just to be sure. It shows that I've already checked it, but you know. Anything else? Doesn't seem like it, but we got one more question to ask then. Surprised to learn Monsieur de Silva and the Major worked together.
All Felix cared about was money and filling his pockets with it. That's why he got into bed with de Silva.
The Major was not in need of money, though.
Need and want are two very different things. Did he need to move here and leech off the Madame? No, but he wanted to.
Tell me your opinion of their work together.
As far as I know, de Silva hired him to work security. He was worried what could happen to his precious factories if things got ugly.
And your reporters were there to cover the story when it did turn that way.
My reporters go where there is news to be told.
And you predicted the violence that occurred?
Anyone could see that was going to happen. If you ask me, Hugo should have acted sooner.
Merci, mademoiselle. I shall leave you to relax.
That reminds me of the whole like fair wage and everything. I was reading the thing on Reddit. It was like you become undisputed dictator of the states for, I want to say 20 years maybe. I don't remember. It was some amount of time anyway, but it was like, what did you do? This one guy listed off a bunch of stuff, and he was very, very clearly not very educated in politics, just or how a country works when you run it. Because some of the stuff made very little sense. Some of the stuff he would have needed to expand on how he was going to implement it. But one of the things he said was like, I'm not sure if he specified how much money you had, but he said something about rich people getting a 99% tax. And it's like, okay, so now every rich person immediately leaves the United States. And because they're rich and are going to be bringing a bunch of wealth with them, any other country in the world would be more than happy to take them. Like, congratulations, you've just decimated, there's no more jobs or anything in the States. Like, you've just decimated the States and shut it down with one wave of your hand. All right, here we are, Mademoiselle Angeline and Gideon's room. I wonder what we shall find. Apparently not them. Could have mistaken it for my own. Yes, well, I mean, it does seem like you'd be a very neat and tidy person. There does not seem to be anything of interest in here. Okay. Got a photo. Seems to be used. Oh. It seems they used to be closer. Perhaps their recent behavior was merely a facade. Could it be possible that Gideon collaborated with Zachariah? Same old fireplace shit. I'm assuming same old grandfather clock. Yeah. And let me guess, same old window. Out. And the same globe. Yep. Alright. Well, besides the photo, we really got fucking nothing from there. Oh, wait, I saw that. There was another... Oh, whatever. Alright, well, this seems like it was a very worthless investigation. I mean, I guess unless him and his brother were working together, but I mean... With all the west guest room searched, I should make my way to the guest rooms on the east of the first floor. There must be evidence of collusion somewhere. I mean, unless there was no collusion. That's the major study. Oh, actually, I think there might be an achievement for doing this. For returning to the study on your own or something. Oh, and there's anything here. There does not seem to be anything interesting here. Turn to the scene of the crime alone for a second time. Complete all the chapters, visit all locations, inspect every window. Stop for a refreshment during a key moment. Well, I haven't had a chance to do that as far as I'm aware, so. Pass the denouement flawlessly, and then there's a bunch of secret achievements, which is slightly worrisome. Oh, that's a storeroom. Oh, do I have to go downstairs? I didn't realize that we were on the top floor. Guess that makes sense, but since we were in Gideon's room last. Okay, and then this was the Comtesse's room. Margot. This is Jacqueline's bedroom. I don't think we've ever been the library. Oh, well, hello, Inge.
Mademoiselle, we meet again.
Bonjour, Monsieur Poirot. Pardon, Détective Poirot.
Just a detective is quite all right.
Bon, can I help you with something?
It was you that alerted the house to the Major's body, was it not?
I was taking him a plate of food, but he didn't answer to my knocking.
You then entered the study.
I did. He wasn't moving. He just lay there.
I did not mean to upset you again. Seeing him there would be troubling for anyone, and I'm sure it is not a memory you wish to relive.
Tell me about, tell me about your relationship with the other staff.
I suppose we're like a family. We argue, but most of the time we get along.
You must all be quite close, then.
Some more than others.
You refer to whom, mademoiselle?
Well, Maman Rihanna, she's been here the longest, and she's very close with Lizzie on account of Luke.
How is it Mademoiselle Elizabeth's late fiance connects him? Probably her son, dumbass.
Maman Ray is Luke's sister.
Oh, sister.
You
Well,
didn't know
alright.
that? I thought she would have said. She talks about him all the time. It must have been awful, losing him in those riots. Apparently, he was right at the front when they were charged. They didn't stand a chance. If I had been the one responsible for his death, I wouldn't want Maman Ray looking for me.
Mademoiselle Rihanna, Maman Ray, she has expressed her desire for revenge.
Every time she talks about what happened.
How is it that the knowledge of Luke's death has eluded me for so long? The death of a brother is certainly motive enough. I did not see an aggressive side to Mademoiselle Rihanna when we spoke, but that's probably all the secret achievements. But I wonder if she would act on such impulses for revenge if the opportunity arose. If you do not mind me inquiring, what brought you to the women's shelter?
I guess you wouldn't know anything about life on the streets.
It is not an experience I have had to face personally, but I understand that many are forced into it, and the lifestyle that comes with it.
The lifestyle of a thief, you mean?
Put rather bluntly, oui.
You are the first officer that has not taken one look at me and pulled out their handcuffs.
Handcuffs. She said it weird.
Mademoiselle, I can see you have turned your life around, and I commend you on your efforts.
Without the Countess, I would probably be rotting in a cell somewhere.
There's an obvious alliance to the Comtesse, and an understandable one at that. Well, yeah.
Merci, mademoiselle.
All right. Inga may seem nothing more than a young innocent maid, but there is something that she is withholding. If I'm to solve the case as before me, I must learn what it is. Well, that seems like we should be investigating the staff area. But apparently we don't have any clues as that we can link right now. Wait a minute, was that a person over there? No. I'm just looking up to see what all the secret achievements are in the game. There was one that we got at the beginning. Kitty and Hugo. Secret. Yeah, the rest are all just uncover secrets, which I'm assuming we'll get as we go. I mean, I am glad though that I did look at this, because the one there for examining all the stuff in the staff room, it did say that in chapter 7, so the next chapter, to make sure that I investigate the luggage last. So, all right. I wonder if Monsieur Zachariah is as seemingly innocent as his brother. I should speak with him before searching his room. Well, what the hell do we have to link up now? Oh, the job from Margot. Yeah. Okay, but first, can I inspect a window? Because we got to be getting close to that one. I don't think they're not tracking any of them though. So. Same plant shit.
Monsieur Demir, I hope you are feeling better today.
Nothing a good night's sleep couldn't fix.
Très bien. I wonder if you would be up to discussing certain matters with me.
Whatever you need.
I'm sorry if dealing with the Major's body brought up any familiar emotions.
I lost my taste for death a long time ago. But it had to be done. I'm certainly in no rush to be carrying a dead body again, though.
Most understandable. I shall extend the same gratitude to you as I did to your brother.
You've spoken to him already. How is he?
Perhaps that should be a question you ask him yourself.
Yeah, maybe.
I spoke with your brother about your past.
I bet he had a lot to say. He always did have an opinion on the war.
When I say your past, I refer to your past as brothers.
Okay, well, what did he say?
It seems you both had the same sentiment for this party. Perhaps the bridges that you thought were once burnt are in fact primed to be reconstructed.
We'll see how probable that reconstruction is going to be. Until he sees my point of view, I don't know how we can move forward.
What is there for him to understand before the bond can be repaired?
He lost his friends in the war, the same as everyone. But somehow he has forgiven. I'm sorry, Detective, I can't. And Gideon just doesn't understand that.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, there's a difference between knowing that your friends were killed by some opposing force that you never saw yourself, and being there fighting against the opposing force and actually seeing your friends die. Like, after speaking with Monsieur Gideon about his brother's state of mind, I think the best thing for them both would be a reconciliation. There is something about Monsieur Zachariah's story that he is leaving out, though. The death of his friends and comrades weighs heavy on him. I mean, that could be so many things in war. Like, so many things. Like, maybe he did something that got them killed. Maybe he couldn't save them from getting, like, he saw them about to be killed but couldn't do anything to save them. I mean, it's war. There's a huge amount of things that could make somebody feel guilty about the death of his friends and comrades. Like, your brother was talking with the Comtesse while in the salon. I was not aware they were so close.
Those two, close.
They must share something in common to be able to hold a conversation for the time they did.
If there is one thing I know about my brother, it's that he will not. No. He cannot be rude. He just doesn't have it in him.
Was it not your brother that punched Monsieur Hagen?
Ah, that's different. He was asking for it. If you put my brother in a room with 5 socialites like her, he would work his way around every single one of them, offering his full attention and finest manners.
Merci for your assistance, monsieur.
All right. Now we can do a proper search of the room. Cigarette butts. The room is littered with mess. Cigarette butts discarded right next to the ashtray. What a dick. Yeah. Same fireplace as always. Oh, what do we got? A ceremonial dagger. Ornamental dagger from Zachariah's time in the war. Gramophone, I'm assuming is the same. Oh, come on, get around it. That should be it, I think. Oh, we have a link. Zachariah is hesitant to reconcile. Zachariah is hesitant to talk. Gideon was polite to Margot. Alright. I don't know. Maybe.
This will not get me any closer to...
I mean, it does seem unlikely, but...
I should not be surprised by my own skill.
The Demir brothers' estranged relationship is enough to suggest they would not have worked together. I feel like that's a stretch. I mean, I guess he does say unlikely, not that they wouldn't. So, I mean, I guess. But still.
Always got time for my favorite.
There's a particular item I found while conducting my search.
The dagger. I wondered how long it would take for that to become an issue.
But you didn't hide it, which is a good thing.
I shall give you the opportunity to explain the reason for it being here before I jump to any conclusions.
It was going to be a wedding gift for Gideon. I've maybe not been the best brother in recent years. I thought this could make up for some of it. After what happened to the Major, I thought it was a bit tasteless.
I mean, that makes sense.
You did not see it fitting to tell me you were harboring a rather sizable knife in your room?
I wouldn't say harboring. And I wasn't expecting to be a suspect in a murder.
Merci for your assistance, monsieur.
Wow, we're getting, like, all these clues and none of them are linking together. To be fair, that does kind of make sense.